Why he fighting this? Why? What is his goal?
Do you understand the words that come out of my mouth?
Welcome back to the Immigrant section. I'm your host, Abbas Wahab, and in the studio today we got Lewis Molds. What's going on, brother?
Nothing much. I feel like I'm on Sway.
Yeah? No, there's gonna be none of that here. We don't have that kind of
Five
energy
Fingers
here.
to Death.
Yeah, exactly.
I can spit.
Sway, I think they run their programming around, like daytime hours, right? So they got that daytime energy. You know what I'm talking about?
No cusses.
No cusses. No, they curse. Did you watch Little Dicky on that? Wait, is Sway the one where they freestyle?
Yeah.
Or Sway the dreaded black dude who's like, who had that character in the Boondocks, the show too? He's like that known reporter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
No.
He has dreads.
Sway 45 does the
freestyles.
The 5 Fingers of Death. So they give him 5 beats, and the Dizzy Rascal one was the best one.
I don't think I heard that one. I heard Little Dicky's.
Yeah.
Little Dicky had an amazing one.
Yeah?
Yeah. Is that what it is? Is it Sway? Is that what the one?
Shade 45 is the station. It's Slim Shady, the Eminem's station on Sirius XM, and Sway is the morning drive time, like main big time guy there. And his show, he's like the main host, but he has a bunch of other people that work on it, and they have like not only like big rappers doing like freestyle and shit, they have like liquor and food.
It's a whole thing.
It's a 3-hour long show.
The part I'm talking about is like where they go on and they just freestyle, and the whole it's like a whole YouTube channel. They just freestyle. I think it's probably that portion just cut out, so I'm not watching all the other programming. Yeah. Well, I don't know how we even got. I don't know how we literally just veered off. Just to define that
amazing controlled studio environment, because you did my podcast, and it was not a controlled.
That was interesting, though. That goes to show you what happens when random people are around during a podcast recording. All right, I do my best to avoid having random people around during podcasts. That's just my
uncontrollable energies.
Exactly. It's like, so just lean in, and if you talk there, then your voice is captured in the microphone and you contribute. Yeah, exactly. Oh, now you're just screaming. Oh, okay. Thank you.
Sounds so simple.
Yeah.
Not everyone's a pro.
Thanks for coming on, brother. I've yet to have a single British representative.
About time.
And I don't think there's some of your boys at home are like, fuck, this dude should not be representing us. Dude, you are one of those super interesting guys. You remind me so much of like Fear and Loathing. Just your lifestyle. And I know you're like in a bout of like sobriety with some things. But like, just for so long when I met you, every time I saw, it's like, when you meet people that have the circular sunglasses or the circular glasses, that's a whole lifestyle. Those John Lennon glasses, no, when you rock those all the time, that's a lifestyle. I feel like you're that person. You're not actually rocking them, but in my mind, you're that guy, though. Like, I don't know what the fuck you're on. Again,
I
now
do
you
wear
are.
sunglasses a lot.
Is that a British thing? Because I've traveled a lot, and I've met, like, British people all over the world, specifically in, like, other places in Europe, and they always have stories about experiencing psychedelics at way younger ages than I thought we were doing over here in, like, Canada.
I think it's in experiencing everything at a younger age. It's a country of degenerates.
Oh shit. Okay, like what? For example, besides like like alcoholism or like...
Oh yeah, but that goes with like a lot of coke, ketamine. There's a combination which is quite popular.
Say ketamine one more time. I like
ketamine.
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 Say laboratory.
Laboratory.
Oh no, were you gonna say laboratory?
Laboratory.
There you go. That
aluminum.
I love that.
Yeah, like
aluminium.
There's a combination called a CK or a Calvin Klein, cocaine and ketamine, which is quite popular after parties.
Cocaine and ketamine.
Cocaine and ketamine.
Have you ever had the mixture?
No.
Okay, absolutely. For the listeners who were not able to watch that, Lewis looked directly into the camera and made it clear that he had never mixed it too. But let's just say you had. How would you describe what the feeling would be like?
Well, from a pharmacological standpoint, ketamine's like a dissociative. You can K-hole, which means you kind of lose your limbic function, but cocaine kind of brings it back. So it's kind of like a
the limbic system is that's like reflexes and everything. Oh,
yeah, motor functions.
Limbic is for limb. Oh, that does make sense. Huh?
Yeah, I think I'm using that word.
Yeah, I don't. Let's just assume you are and continue going with that.
20 grand's worth of university education. Just
what did you study, by the way?
English, literature, and culture. I went to such a shit university as well.
Is that where you did cocaine and ketamine?
Actually, no. I was a weed smoker during that point.
So what I want to know is, you're saying the ketamine makes you lose bodily control. Like you can't use your arms, you can't feel them, or like it goes numb.
Take enough, it dissociates yourself, so you find it hard to move. You're kind of crawling around.
And the cocaine makes you stand back up.
Yeah, gives you a little bit of pep. Have
you ever tried the Quaaludes?
No, they only really exist in South Africa, and there was a operation called Project Coast by the South African government to try and basically weaken the apartheid movement. So what they did is they experimented introducing lots of different drugs into the populace to weaken them. They tried things like acid and Valium and stuff, but Quaaludes were the only one actually stuck. And there was a point where basically the black population took over the trade of Quaaludes. So that's the only place which you could really find them. And they have it in they mix it with tobacco and low quality weed and smoke it out of like a broken bottle. And that's the Quaalude.
Oh, is it like their crack?
Yeah.
That sounds like a crack style drug.
There's a documentary on it, but Quaaludes, they stopped getting made. I mean, you've seen Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't know about their existence until I saw that movie. Yeah. And then what's the name of that guy in real life? The Wolf of Wall Street guy?
Jordan Belfort.
Jordan Belfort. He was on Joey Diaz's podcast, right? Shout out to the Church of What's Happening Now.
Have you ever seen
one of my favorite podcasts? But he goes on and he starts legitimately talking about Quaaludes. Yeah. And him and Joey were talking about Quaaludes, and they both fuck with Quaaludes back in the day.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Look, I've been sober like X years, like decades. He's like, if there was one in front of me right now, I would do it." Okay,
I'm so curious about Quaaludes.
Yeah, I thought you'd be so in South Africa right now.
Yeah,
you can get Quaaludes, but you got to smoke it crack style.
You probably don't have to smoke it crack style, but it's like with pill presses. Like Xanax was a big thing in the UK, funnily enough, because from China, what they did was they pressed the alprazolam powder into what looked like legitimate Xanax bars. And often they were good quality and had 2 milligrams in as per you'd expect from a bar.
A bar is a single tablet of Xanax?
Yeah, like
it's 2 milligrams.
The 2 milligram one, yeah.
Is it always the same color and does it have a little stamp? Like that?
It should be. Well, the pharmaceutical ones are white, but then they started going a bit crazy with it because they could just press it into anything. So certain vendors would have like strawberry flavor. Or like green ones, which were like 5 milligrams, and there's a big Xanax problem in the well, there was anyway actually until a certain market went down,
and that market is like Amsterdam.
No, more of like an Amazon.
I think we can. Let's be realistic here, okay? We can talk openly, okay?
Can we?
I don't think, we can 100% talk openly. Everything we're saying is obviously speculation. To anybody who's listening, we're just two stupid motherfuckers, okay, with that's all. Dude, we're just two guys talking right now, okay?
I saw a Vice thing once and they said it on there.
None of this is going to be held against us in a court of law, I'm sure of it. Let's just talk openly.
It's a parody podcast, okay. Well, a certain market on the deep web,
I guess, the dark web. Dude, bro, look, I've been on the dark web. Okay? Yeah?
Anything good?
My roommate, right in front of me, past roommate, and I don't know where he lives anymore. He might be dead. Who knows? Right in front of me, he went on the deep web. He ordered a couple tabs of acid, and it arrived in the mail from Manitoba, Canada, 1 week later, with just some stamps on it. You know? And I was shocked, you know what I mean? And
it's a new world.
And I turned him in, obviously. I told the police about him, as
good.
You should as well.
The story has a happy ending.
Law-abiding citizen should. Obviously, I did all of the acid after he was arrested, right? But he broke the law. The acid was in the house now. I didn't break any law, right?
Yeah, you did it by accident. You thought it was a stamp. You're looking at a stamp.
Exactly. Acid isn't illegal, is it? It's like, yeah, it is. It's like, oh.
There's a loophole where if you think it's a stamp, it's fine.
Legit? That's why they were putting them on stamps. I thought it was just a cool novelty. So that whole time, the reason they were putting them on stamps is to just be like, I'm just mailing stuff. It's like, sir, you're naked. Okay? You're naked, all right, on a merry-go-round.
During
You're not doing
World War II,
fucking postage.
Prisoners of war would they would sometimes write hidden messages on the back of stamps, because obviously you're a prisoner of war. They're going to read through what you're saying. Yeah. So they would write on the back of the stamp. Yeah, no one ever checks. For anybody who's ever, like, in captivity somewhere and only given, like, letters to write with, back of the stamp. That's where you keep your message. You get your ration, you get your one biscuit a day, you get your one podcast a day. You get to listen to one episode.
Just to hold your sanity, right?
For good behavior.
Dude, how would you even put a message on the back of a stamp? When you lick it, you lick it off, and then you adhere it to the envelope. So how can you possibly rip that contact off? Like, how?
What he did was, in the notes, in the message, he said, oh, you should put this letter in some water and get the stamp off for so-and-so, because he collects stamps. So they mentioned in the letter that you should carefully remove this stamp by either steaming it.
Oh, got it. Okay. It was kind of like that one thing that didn't catch me, if you can, where you had to take the little stickers off all the planes and he put them in the bathtub. Yeah. So he can put the stickers in the corner of the checks so they were legit. I don't know how real that was, obviously, but...
The message on the back of the stamp was, they cut out my tongue. That was on the back of it.
They cut out my tongue. And what was this originally? Like, who was in captivity at this time?
I'm not sure. I think I read it in a Horrible Histories book, if you ever read those.
That is a truly horrible history right there.
It was a good series. It was like a kid's book. There was the gruesome Greeks, the awesome Egyptians.
Goddamn.
The rotten Romans. It was like a funny kid's book.
Oh, this is like Goosebumps and all that kind of stuff.
Kind of, yeah, but it was like a factual book for kids, to break it down.
I feel like we've been jumping. Now we're just literally going through like the kid books in our like respective youths. I actually did want to talk very like specifically about British urban culture, just because like I've recently been getting into like grime. My little brother got me into grime and rap. And
what are you listening to?
Gigs, Stormzy, stuff like that. Skepta.
Landlord.
Skepta was a little bit. Oh, Landlord, that album is amazing. Yeah. That's actually my favorite one by Gigs. Yeah. That's like the most embodiment of like the sound I like.
Cass is dead. He's cool.
No, I've never heard of them. Good. Same kind of like vibe.
Yeah, he was on. He had a few features on the Landlord album, but like conceptually, has a really interesting. Because he created an album it was like a cassette tape where he basically raps over the soundtrack for Drive, and obviously he didn't get anything cleared. He just like rapped over these beats, like the Chromatics one, and whatever else on the album. And the aesthetic is like a kind of 80s vibe, and he's got the brick phone in the videos, and he's talking about, he has like a mask and everything. Yeah,
exactly. So the urban style over there is like different here. It like took a different course.
Yeah.
And there it's way more, it seems like in my eyes, it's way more like reminiscent of like 80s and 90s US culture.
Yeah.
Like there's so many jumpsuits there that are hot right now.
Yeah.
You know? Like, did you grow up with any of that culture? Like, did you ever see, like, did you ever come up with any grime artists or like that grime vibe, or watch it rap transform into this grime genre?
Honestly, I'm not sure there was much of like an evolution. There was obviously like the American rappers who came over.
Who came over? Like, as far as like to tour?
Pretty much everyone. I mean, to tour, I can't even think. Like, what era are we talking about? Like,
No, I'm asking, when you say come over, do you mean like come over to tour?
Oh,
or
no,
come
I mean
over
like
to live there.
Come over as in like export the music, like the stuff we were listening
Gotcha.
to.
Jay-Z.
Yeah, like 50 Cent.
Yeah.
Eminem was pretty huge.
Yeah, worldwide.
Akon
was big. He killed it.
doing a lot for Africa now.
Oh,
Very underrated.
right now he's doing a lot for Africa?
Yeah,
What's he doing for Africa?
he's giving them light. He's giving them.
Akon
Free
gave
concerts.
Africa light?
Akon is doing bits, man. He's like, you know, remember when Soulja Boy was on Breakfast Club?
Yeah, I remember that.
Charlemagne and
I watched
Angela
that.
Yee.
Yeah.
Like he revealed all this stuff that he did. He was like, I changed the game.
Yeah, I
did this
watched
and
that clip. That clip blew
Yeah.
up.
And it was interesting because he was right. He was the first one to work with Migos. They used the same beat, Versace, I think it was a Trayvon beat, Zaytoven beat, not Trayvon.
Yeah, like Trayvon. Jesus, I'm like, someone's using that name to produce beats now. That's savage.
Ooh. There's a rapper called Lil Xan who has a tattoo of Anne Frank on his face.
Yeah, just
think
to be jarring for the sake of being.
Yeah,
jarring.
I'm not sure if it's just to be like no snitching, like keep quiet, shh, creep
Just-
around.
Anne Frank. What the fuck? Do you know what the reason for that is? That's
The Anne
the
Frank.
stupidest thing I ever heard.
I'm not sure. I saw a video of him where he
Anne
was like,
Frank.
"Yeah, man,
I know my history.
I'm quitting Xanax now. I'm quitting Xanax," and he's in the back of a taxi pouring up codeine cough syrup. It's like,
Yeah.
come on.
The whole culture in rap right now, it's actually pretty crazy because it's, for the most part, it's either pushing drugs hard or like taking a very firm anti-drug stance that in itself is not that cool. You know what I mean? I just hate being like,
Preachy rap.
yeah. I don't like that. I don't like it when it's like, I get it. Obviously, drugs are bad and don't abuse them and everything in moderation. But I hate it when they're like, all these other rappers ain't shit. They doing coke bars. I'm doing real bars or something. Like, they'll say lines like obviously way better than that, but still a little like.
It reminds me of that joke you do about, is it like Common?
Don't fuck it up. Yeah. That bit about how Common is preachy. Yeah, the rapper Common is the most preachy motherfucker. I have a joke about how
It is like J.
every time you
Cole,
hear a
I
Common lyric, you know he's touching his temple. You know what I mean? Like, you know he's in the booth touching his temple.
I want Jay Electronica to come back because I feel like he was the guy for that. But
Detroit guy?
I think he was from New Orleans actually, but he's been all over, and now he fucked some Rothschild linked married lady, and now he's just chilling in London, just like with the Rothschilds. And
Wait, so the Rothschild's child?
one of them, because they're a banking dynasty, aren't they? And he got friends with this like married couple who were Rothschilds, and then he ended up fucking the wife.
Yeah.
And they divorced, and now Jay Electronica is just in London, just like
With the wife? Now?
yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Dude,
for real. And it was
Patrick's out right now. I want to see a picture.
and it was hilarious
of her.
because there was a Daily Mail article, just like a fucking trash newspaper, who was they described him as a rapper with a penchant for marijuana.
A
And there were-
penchant? What does that mean?
as in like a liking for it.
For marijuana?
Yeah, but it was such a snooty fucking.
Yeah, they're hating on him, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, that one chick from Hollywood went over and married one of your princes.
Yeah,
They're looking
respect.
Yeah, oh man.
He
I'm
did
saying
better
I'm
than
saying it's
she
respect either way. Oh, yeah, exactly.
More respect
like,
for him. I know he's a prince, but like.
Oh, 100%. Because now she's got to deal with all that bullshit, right?
Oh, I
Imagine being fucking going willingly into
I feel
royalty.
so
That's-
sorry for that bitch, because
dude, that
she's
is
fucked.
that is like signing up for like A-list actor level of paparazzi bullshit for the rest of your life.
No, but you're
like a game.
You're linked in
symbol.
with old money wealth. You're linked in with like institutional power. Like you remember Princess Diana.
Of course, at great cost. But
accident.
Yes.
Death, like...
But all that power, all that stuff, you can't wield it yourself. It's all like...
You're in it. You're in the belly of the beast there.
You're
fucked.
in it, sure, but every big decision goes through, like, hearings, committees. Like, everything is going through, like, a group decision. It's not like, I'm the princess now. I'm going to be like, oh, I hate that one intersection has a light. Put a roundabout there. It's not going to be like that. It's not going to be your own annoyances. You're going to fix everything for yourself. It's not, you're just, really what's gonna change is now you don't get to go to the grocery store anymore. Now you don't get to fly in coach anymore. Like, sure, you were an actor before, now you're, like, now you need a security detail with you all the time. Now it's some bullshit. Like, I couldn't imagine willingly, but then it's also like locking her bloodline, her kids. It's like, some very high-level legacy.
It is, yeah.
It's some high-level shit I can't even understand.
But, like, if you remember Princess Diana, she apparently had, and this is a little bit of a conspiracy tact here, but, like, apparently she had a dossier on all the British politicians that were pedophiles, VIP pedophile rings.
They always make you, everybody loves to make you think that a dossier, like you put together, you neatly compile your grouping of evidence and being like, tomorrow morning when I wake up, I'm going straight down to the police station with this dossier of evidence. I'm just going to brush my teeth and sleep and wake up like I do every day.
See you later.
And exactly. Let me just go for a quick ride down this tunnel first.
Well, like, Jimmy Savile was like he was like a big... Do you know about Jimmy Savile?
No, who's that?
He was this weird old guy, wore tracksuits and like chains, had a TV show, did lots of charity work, and it was found out after his death that actually he was a notorious child abuser, and he was linked in with like Prince Charles and that. So
like child abuser or like pedophile, like sexually abusing?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So like, okay.
But like
straight up predator.
Because he worked with like children's hospitals and all these charities.
And
they just kind of
100%,
turned a blind eye to it. But he was linked in with like Thatcher. He was linked in with Prince Charles and that. He was in there. He had the power. And apparently Diana...
so you're saying that's what she's marrying into, is like the ability to be a pedophile in absolute discretion? Like,
well, fucking Prince Andrew's going down. You heard about the Epstein shit with him.
Oh, was he involved with that?
Oh yeah, he was completely involved.
By the way,
with
I
that.
feel look, I don't really know exactly what's happening with this Epstein shit. Pretty much, did you follow it a lot?
Yeah, I've been following it for years.
For years?
Do you remember when the Pizzagate thing first came out?
So all I know about Epstein is a rich person had an island and was doing pedophile stuff on there, and kept paying for people to look the other way or something, and then eventually got caught and killed himself. Is that the gist of it?
Basically, he was allegedly he was an intelligence asset. So that's why a lot of I think Acosta, which is one of the judges, sort of left him alone because he was caught for child trafficking. He did 12 months of release where he was allowed to go to work for 12 hours a day and then went back to the prison at night in Florida. He got the most like cushy deal.
Yeah, 100%.
He got a rich person deal. But then
what was the nature of the child trafficking?
It was soliciting minors, so he had to register as a sex offender. And then they found out that actually they fucked something up, and he had all these new charges against him, and obviously he was suicided. He committed suicide, quotation marks, in prison.
In the U.S.
Yeah, at one of the most secure facilities where no one's ever committed suicide there before. So it's fishy.
And how was it? What did they define, like the details of his suicide?
They said it was hanging, but
by what means?
bed sheets or something. I'm not sure. I think someone went in and gave him a little capsule of cyanide and said, "There you go.
You're done.
Yeah.
Here you go, right? Your final request, sir."
But I think like what he was essentially, and the same with the UK VIP pedophile thing. It was run by the intelligence services as a way of blackmailing people. So what they would do is get leverage on politicians, like all the people that went to the island. They would either film them or have this leverage of them fucking kids or doing whatever else. So I think that was
wait. So how does that mix the fucking kids part? So they invite politicians to an island. And unbeknownst to them, there's a bunch of kids, sexy kids, just like all over the place, hiding.
I don't know,
right?
Unbeknownst, they just bring them out.
Yeah, no, they're hiding at the beginning because then you would dip right away if you saw them, right?
You're on an island, though.
You're on an island.
There's coke there. You might be a coke guy. Like, I'm not going to fuck the kid, but maybe I'll...
Exact, but I'm saying you just spring, like they're enticed to come to the island on like it being like a tropical paradise or it being like a great vacation spot, resort like of the highest. Or are these politicians actually coming there with the intention to go in on that? And they know that they're shitty people, so they invite them to the lair and set up cameras. Or are they just like, is a politician walking down the hall and then they just send out two sexy kids and they just run up and hug them and they come out and just flash them with a bunch of pictures? Is that what they're doing?
I think
like, what are they doing?
I think they're more in the know because you had a whole private plane which you flew. I think Bill Clinton was on it like 27 times in the flight logs. Kevin Spacey was on a flight. So was Chris Tucker.
See, that's what I'm saying. What is the name? So what?
If someone offers you a ride on a private jet,
I'm going to say yes.
Exactly.
If they are a super, like, affluent person that has an island who has invited you, extended you an invitation to their personal island via personal travel.
The belly of the beast. It's irresistible.
I'm going to say yes. There's no way he's also like, there's also 13-year-old boys and girls.
Because people
he's
say
not gonna say that. That shit is like hidden for the fucking like degenerates, the like monsters.
Yeah.
That monster activity, there's no way that's happening out in the open. People would lose their mind, man.
Yeah.
If you saw someone, it doesn't matter if you were in Cancun. If you saw someone obviously like fucking with like a 13-year-old or some shit, you'd be like, what the fuck? Unless it was like Bangkok where it's like so everywhere. You're like, you don't know what to even, you can't do anything. That's just how it is.
I think how it works is there's too many people, because people always say like, oh, surely the amount of people involved in this, someone would just talk. Some people do talk, but they're the victims, and you have people just lawyer them down, and they're like, oh, they're doing it for attention, which I do not believe that people would make that up.
No, yeah,
for attention. Like, you're gone.
That's all the way. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the type of shit. Just an allegation is a write-off for you. You're done.
Yeah, but like, there's too many vested interest involved in that sort of thing. So when the Pizzagate thing broke, it was kind of dubbed.
So what was the Pizzagate thing?
It was to do with a certain pizza place, and it was to do with the Podesta emails. John Podesta was the Democratic campaign manager. So it was stuff to do with like Hillary Clinton's foundation and all these different things. And there was like just a lot of strange connections and weirdness. But at the time it was kind of dubbed as some crazy right-wing conspiracy theory because Alex Jones was talking about it.
Spearheading the fucking conversation.
Yeah. And so it was kind of, even on, there's a clip of Stephen Colbert talking about it, and the video is called Pizzagate is Nothing But a Right-Wing Fever Dream. So we did this whole segment on why it's bullshit, and that clip has aged so badly because with all this shit coming out, it's it's like
maybe I should have waited.
There is
something
to it. Yeah. There is something to it, and it's like nobody really knows the extent of it because Epstein was into all kinds of like, I almost said interesting then. I guess it is interesting. He was into eugenics. He wanted to spread his seed to he wanted to find like 20 women to impregnate, and he was into all kinds of genetic experiments and stuff.
Legit, huh?
Yeah.
So he was a spy, is what it's thought to be. He was an intelligence asset. That means he was an agent.
Yeah.
Who was also like super pedophilic.
Yeah.
It was like a major pedophile.
Yeah.
But he was good at doing agent stuff, or was he rich through doing agent stuff? Like, how did he get the island?
He was good at manipulating people because he was a maths teacher, then he was a stockbroker and partner, and then he made his own hedge fund. But he only had one client, which was actually admitted to. He was the guy who ran Victoria's Secret.
So when you say he was an asset, an intelligence asset, he wasn't working for the government in any way. Like, he just kind of...
Yeah, it's not like he went through the training and was an agent. People of importance, like there's an operation called Project Mockingbird, I believe it was.
You know all the fucking project names. You're deep in this shit.
Yeah.
How do you remember the project? Is anything you're about to tell me have anything to do with the Mockingbirds? No. Right? How do you remember the Mockingbird part?
It was
How do you remember
CIA. It was a CIA operation to infiltrate certain parts of media to spread disinformation.
See, that's just, that kind of stuff sounds so 1984-ish.
I mean, it was,
and I bet
was about that
actually
year
happened.
as well.
Like, I can't, like, so they want to see where media has the capacity to spread, or they want to see what is spreading?
They want to influence what is spread. They want to control the narrative.
But don't they have interests, like, through different departments that can get them that same kind of control? Like, speak to the media relations, speak to them, and speak to them.
Well, you wouldn't do it directly through the CIA. You would find someone who's prominent in that position. Maybe you've got a tape of them fucking a kid.
So in this case, Epstein.
You're ours now. Maybe Epstein was just good at procuring children, good at manipulating people. That's what his value was. He had all this money, dark money from who knows where. No one knew.
What do you mean? You said he had a hedge fund.
That's what he said, but the books were like closed on it. No one knows who his clients were except for one.
Oh, okay. So too high profile.
Yeah, very, very mysterious. Like, he didn't want anyone to.
So that's okay. So this is another case of, like, here's one person who, it's almost like getting a list of every person that's ever had lunch or dinner with Bill Cosby in the last 30 years and damning those people. It's like, yo, you can't just close, like, all those people had to close the books on that because they don't even want their name associated, even in business, like, even in a business capacity, they don't want their name associated with Epstein. They had no idea of that wrongdoing. They had no idea of any of that shit.
Sure.
And they have to just close the book. They can't see. They work with Deloitte or with whatever. It's like, it's like you were saying, Chris Tucker was on the flight log. This guy was. So what? They were on that plane at one point. Like, when people say things like that, it's pretty much being like, hey, Chris Tucker fucks kids.
I mean,
I
think he was just along for the ride, but then obviously Kevin Spacey has his stuff.
Is a known kid fucker.
And there's allegations
exactly.
of Bill Clinton as well. He took 27 trips to Africa.
Yeah, but Bill Clinton is he's just a fiend.
He's just a fiend.
He's just a fiend. I don't think he's actually out there screwing kids or anything.
No?
I don't think he's touching kids at all.
You don't think he's doing any weird?
No. It's not like when in Rome kind of thing. I think if any of these people had an urge to do this kind of stuff, I feel like they would have done it. They're not like they need to get to an island. Like this island was catering to, like, all of this super illicit shit. I feel like would happen behind closed doors because these are high profile people. They're always aware. You think a billionaire who is making his money in North America is just going to be, like, openly doing crazy illegal shit? He's going to constantly be afraid. So all of that is, like, fucked up, horrible acts of, like, abuse. I guarantee you, like, that kind of shit happens behind closed doors. You can't bring Chris Tucker to an island and fucking shit like that is happening.
But what's he going to say? What is he gonna? He's not gonna expose it because he realizes
they're not gonna test it. They're too smart to test him. You don't know. You don't know what
Test
people...
Chris Tucker.
And you don't know who else is on the flight. Who else was on the flight log? There's probably 18 other names that we don't know their names because they weren't in fucking movies. We only know these people's names.
Well, no, you can see the flight logs because the flight log was leaked, and you can see all these academics and all this and that.
Fly that many. It's like me hanging out with me being a big Coke guy and having an island with a lot of Coke and constantly flying people there that are not Coke people.
But there's no... You're the only one who would get into trouble with that. If you have got people associated with it, no matter what the situation is, they are not going to risk their position because your life will be over. And that's the level it works at. Your life will be over. There are too many vested interests in media or whatever. You would be blackballed. You wouldn't be able to do anything after that.
That's the crazy thing about just things at that level. You don't know because we're just one of like millions of people piecing together like different little headlines here and there.
Yeah.
You actually followed the case.
Yeah.
I'm taking the little you just told me right now. And
I'd rather not tell you. I want to keep you in the dark about this. It's like too many sleepless nights. Just like
sleep.
Reading.
You personally lost sleep over this?
Not lost sleep, just like I used to have quite bad insomnia, so I would stay awake.
Oh, okay, all right. I thought you had an amazing moral compass.
I was reading
sleep well.
The fucking leaked pedestal emails on WikiLeaks, and there's certain keywords you can search in there to find very strangely coded emails. So if you search for certain things like pizza or hot dog or walnuts, there are a lot of strangely worded messages by email which are clearly not about what they're talking about. Like
yeah,
one
they
of
have
them,
a code word. So like,
yeah.
Give me the example. Sorry for cutting.
So, one is, oh, you left a handkerchief at my house. It has a map on it that seems pizza related. Is this yours? And John Podesta replies, yeah, it's mine, but don't worry about it. So a handkerchief could represent a lot of different things because it's like a gay community thing. You used to put a handkerchief back in the 60s or whatever.
Or just like all fucking old men that blow their nose into that shit.
Yeah,
it's not gay at all. In fact, it was the opposite. It's the least gay thing to blow your nose.
Pizzagate is like so cheese pizza is a euphemism for child porn.
Legit. Yeah.
And there's a bunch of other stuff as well.
This podcast is just hitting all.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I really
No. Keep going. So, cheese pizza was mentioned in these emails.
A lot of different foods were in just strange context. Like you read it and you think, that's a very strangely worded email about certain things.
Okay, so did you read any of the Clinton emails?
A few. I'm not sure there was much to that. There were a few weird references to hot dogs.
That's what I'm saying.
She asked for a plain hot dog without a bun.
Okay, that's the little code word. What if that means like fire a missile at the enemy?
Oh no, she would just say that shit. That's not the kind of stuff that you would want to hide.
Okay, all right, then just say like that means that something to do with their like campaign strategy that looks really bad if it's explicitly said. Like maybe we need we need more Asians standing to my left at this speech. That's kind of shitty, like, to write that. They always... Yeah. Like, anytime you see, like, a campaign or, like, a campaigner and they're standing, people around them are standing, it's always very manufactured and designed people around them. A lot of times it'll be, like, your standard American family.
Yeah.
It's, like, a boy, like, two parents, two beautiful kids, and maybe, like, a baby being held. There's always like a family of five, and they're just all like fucking just crying as like the national anthem is happening and shit.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that
maybe the hot dog is related to like the ethnic groups. Maybe they need more Mexicans in my campaign lineup. I don't know. I don't know.
I want you to keep believing that because it's a
what
rabbit.
Do you think? What did you think hot dog means?
I kind of know what it means, but I don't want to drag this down into a red-pilled Alex Jones
Dude,
type.
if this is what you think, we've already done 40 minutes on this. There's no
Is that
back
40
end.
minutes?
It's been 40 minutes.
Fuck,
yeah.
it's the whole episode.
So what does hot dog mean?
Oh,
This is what you think? This is what
dog.
the internet thinks, or this is what your conclusion is?
This has been talked about with the FBI and stuff like that.
Okay, so in the emails with these politicians, when they refer to hot dog, what the FBI thinks they mean is...
Well, it means cock of some kind.
Okay.
I think it means brown guy. I think that's what it means.
Brown guy?
Brown guy cock. I think that's what it means.
Dude, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, exactly.
You think what's her name?
I don't know if I think it.
Hillary Clinton is ever making references to brown guy cock? No, man, come on, let's use logic here, bro.
This is why I didn't want to get on this. Like,
wait, that's what the internet says. Do you feel like these politicians are all, for some reason, it's an inside, brown guy cock is an inside joke for all of them. They all know this code word that they all talked about in the fucking, like, castle meeting, the stonecutters meeting.
I mean, pasta...
That's crazy, man.
Pasta means little girl. It's things like this. This has been talked about quite thoroughly in...
That makes more sense to me than brown guy cock. Okay,
that's what I thought it was. But hot dog refers to something.
Who has been ousted with like a secret brown like lover or some like shit? That's never been a fucking thing. But pedophiles are coming out left and right. That adds up.
Yeah.
That's a thing people get caught for.
Yeah.
But then again, it's not illegal to be fucking some random coriander. You know what I mean? That's not illegal. That's just kind of like, goddamn. You know, it's still may fuck up your campaign if the way they decide to spin it. But either way,
it's involving the charities, because there's a lot of weird shit with the Red Cross. There was a bunch of kids trafficked from Haiti who was linked with the Clinton Foundation, and she was caught with all these kids. And it was like Laura Silsby, her name is. And you can't actually find any articles on this story anymore, which is interesting. But she just turned up with like 30 Haitian kids. And they're like, oh, have you got paperwork for them? She's like, no, I don't think I needed it. But then the Clintons got her out of that.
I'm Hillary fucking Clinton, bitch.
Yeah.
Open the fucking door. And then some guy said, Madam, you cannot enter the door right now. And then she goes, hot dog. And then that's a callback.
There's one email where one of the podesters says, oh,
I smell hot dog.
I miss you. I'm thinking about your hot dog stall in Hawaii.
Okay.
Like, what is that?
Yeah, but to think that here we are.
I'm going to bring a cheese pizza back.
Yeah.
Are you good? They're always talking about bringing pizza back and arranging food.
What if it means cocaine?
It could mean cocaine, yeah.
Like, why are we overlooking the
Pizza
more likely thing that every sixth person that you run into is doing like three things: weed, coke, like they're like fucking cheating, adultery,
I mean, the cocaine's
whatever.
probably a catalyst for it. The cocaine's just a supplementary, you know, you invite a load of famous people along, some are there for fucking kids, some are there for the cocaine. It's a buffet, you have to cater. Imagine the catering at that place as well. You go to Epstein's Island, oysters,
dude, that's the funniest
fresh
thing.
Fish.
Whatever company was handling logistics at Epstein's Island, Jesus Christ, man, that's the problem, because they're incredibly talented.
Yeah,
like Epstein did the trafficking, so assuming they didn't do like any of the fucking trafficking, they were just getting them, you know, non-plastic straws, obviously, because Epstein wasn't, you know, he'd fuck kids. He's not trying to fuck turtles, you know what I mean? Coke, all the drugs, the whole spread, veal. I would imagine they would still.
The CIA would get some of the best coke. I mean,
just from like taking over, like,
well, you remember
seizing packages and whatnot.
The original Rick Ross, not the rapper Rick Ross, but the South Central,
the American
dealer.
gangster.
Yeah. He had a connect from Nicaragua. So what the CIA were doing is they were helping them traffic coke into America in order to fund the war in terms of the Contras. So they were trying to overthrow the government in Nicaragua to fund them buying weapons and that. They would help them.
Yeah, so they were just pretty much like profiting on both directions kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what the CIA do. What the CIA do is they topple governments using, you know, strange tactics, psychological operations, things like that. Like there was a SAS guys who were caught dressed up as terrorists with the beard and that.
Well, wait, real quick, what was this project called?
Which one?
This one right now you're talking about. Project Ding Dong or some shit?
It was, what was it called?
Project Crouching Tiger.
Project Cheese and Coke Pizza. I don't know what it was called. MK Ultra was the mind control one.
I know about that. That's like a department?
It was a experiment where they gave random people LSD to try and control their mind, to try and brainwash people. So if you watch The Manchurian Candidate or Jacob's Ladder, it kind of goes into a bit of that.
What about A Clockwork Orange?
A Clockwork Orange that's Anthony Burgess' book, and that was more about rehabilitating criminals. Not quite MK Ultra, but
I know we're jumping all over the place, but
yeah, we really are.
I was gonna ask you if you thought 9/11 was an inside job, but I was like, of course you did. Come on.
I mean,
there's no way that you think 9/11 was Al Qaeda, or you think it's.
I reckon it probably was. They might have known it was going to happen, and they just let it happen because there was training drills that day, which confused the response. So I think it was
But at the same time, that also could just go hand in hand with really good planning on the terrorist end.
Potentially. Right. It's impressive.
Like we're really like, at the end of the day, they hijacked the plane and they flew it into the tower.
Yeah.
I think they have the power to get some like advanced scheduling. Like that's a building of like how many floors. You don't just do trials like on a whim. That shit is planned months in advance. You know how you're going to conduct your trials. All that stuff is available with the safety crew and committee. Like, if you're going to do, like, these kind of things, you do your research. We undermine, like...
You ever seen the film Four Lions?
No.
It's a funny, like, dark comedy. British one.
Oh, Patrick is coming in.
It's one of the funniest movies ever.
Oh, isn't it?
Got Riz Ahmed and a bunch of guys who went on to do bigger stuff in it. But it's basically... you would never, ever, ever be able to make this movie ever again.
For real.
There's probably a 2-year window that this movie happened to come out where you could get away with it. And it's basically... The main characters are terrorists, or trying to be terrorists, but it's like the Three Stooges of terrorists. It's fucking hilarious. There's such like dumb, normal, dumb guys.
They try and make a film to make it appear he's filming it in a cave. So he's sitting there just talking about the infidels and that, and he's got this little toy AK-47, and they're filming it. It's like, oh, okay, stop. What's with the gun? It's like, you know, it's an AK-47, but it's tiny. And they like blow up a sheep.
It's clearly novelty size.
Yeah. It's like just like small enough to like look weird, but it is a fantastic film because it's like it's horrendously funny, but it's also got like a really poignant point to it as well. Like it's highly recommend that.
Kind of like a Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, but funnier.
We're right back here, aren't we?
Yeah.
Do they make you watch A Clockwork Orange for like English curriculums? I feel like that would be your English class.
I feel like it used to be. We read a lot of Toni Morrison. We did Beloved.
Did you guys have any books in your curriculum that were North American authors?
Yeah, loads of Mice and Men.
Oh yeah, okay. Actually, yeah, for sure, especially poetry.
Beloved was on the Oprah book club list. The Color Purple.
Goddamn.
I wasn't a massive fan.
Of just reading in general?
No, I liked reading. Then I did a university degree in it, and it just sucked the fun out of it. Like, it's a chore to read.
It's because you did too much acid, my friend. You saw past the words. You started reading in between the lines.
Or not enough.
Yeah?
Get back into reading.
Actually, let's get right back into that. I wanna ask some questions.
All right.
Have you ever done candy flipping? You know that? That's when you mix acid and MDMA.
Yeah.
For those of you at home who are listening right now, I'd like to remind you. Drugs can be fun if used, if done carefully, all right? Don't abuse shit, be moderate, come on. I've looked at the demographics of who listens to this. It's like 28 to 34 and shit. You know what the fuck it is, okay? I don't have to do these disclaimers.
Candy flipping.
So candy flipping, I was told, is the best high.
It's a pretty good one.
It's not the best in your opinion.
It's good. I mean, I don't know how to rate it, really, but I did it once at a New Year's rave. It was pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah. Shouts out Wig Flex.
Is it one of the ones where, like, you're done the next day? Like, sometimes...
Yeah.
One time I took...
It's
hard,
but...
MDMA has a rep for, like... It kind of drains you of the dopamine and everything, or serotonin, or whatever the ones is. The next day, you're, like, the worst.
Yeah, I don't know. It depends how much you take. If you do it correctly, it's way less bad than a hangover. You can be fine.
I did it a bunch in university. By a bunch, I mean like maybe once a month.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was great. It was fine. Yeah. Every time it was great. And then I went to Cancun and fucking got some from some dude. Dude, the next day, I actually thought I had food poisoning.
Damn.
I actually like canceled all the shit I was doing all day. I was fucked up.
Yeah.
I was like, and then my buddy was telling me who the other person who did M. He's like, dude, it was the M, man. Like, that's why, like, you're just fucking depressed. Like, I have nothing in me to eat, to do. It was just like a deep depression. And I thought I was truly sick. And he's like, no, man, it's just the aftermath. I'm like, holy fuck, this is the worst feeling ever. I would never do this again.
Once every 3 months is advisable.
Yeah, I mean, now last time I did M was in Cancun. That was like 2 years ago. Yeah. That time was the last time.
Acid is fairly light on the body, but combined together they do kind of enhance. And here's a podcast question: have you tried DMT before?
No, I've been trying to get DMT.
Oh yeah, we talked about this.
Fucking Rogan. Every time I'm like, my wanting to do DMT like falls to my back burner of things to do.
Yeah,
I listen to like a Rogan podcast and he's like, DMT, you gotta DMT. Yeah. It's like, oh, you haven't done when I did DMT in my 3rd ayahuasca trip, you know what all that kind of shit. I'm like, fuck,
yeah,
I gotta get on this. I feel like I'm still in like this unevolved, like low level mode. DMT will make me evolve. But the problem is, I like using these kind of psychedelics like mushrooms, acid, and whatnot, with like a purpose, going in with a purpose, and I don't just take it on a whim.
No,
I have like a whole plan.
You respect it, yeah.
And I'm definitely gonna do DMT or ayahuasca in some form. I'm just afraid. Like, I've met some people that have gone. I've seen huge variances, like a huge range in ingestion destroy people. I've seen people who've abused it for a long time and then...
DMT?
No. I'm just talking about like, psychedelics.
Right.
I've seen people who've abused them for a long time are good. I've seen people who abused them for a long time, it broke them. And I've seen people who've abused them just for kind of a short window of time, relatively speaking, 1 year, 18 months, and it broke them. So it's like, I don't know... Like, the range is so big. That's the scary thing for me for psychedelics. I don't know when... Because you know what I'm talking about when I say broken, right? Like, they're just not really there anymore.
There's a good saying when it comes to psychedelics, get the message and then put down the phone. As in, like, get what you think you want from it and then understand that that's a different level of being. And the reason is, like, what psychedelics do is they expand your consciousness but also senses, but it expands it in a way which is not conducive to survival instinct. So you need to be able to know how to navigate the world, not get run over by a bus or something.
Exactly, yeah.
You need to be able to just think on a level without just freaking out. So, I mean, microdosing does have kind of some potential to that, to kind of give you a little bit of that edge, but without the sort of deep tripping part of it. But that's what it does. Like, all these things exist when you're not on acid. It just shows you the world as it is, and that's too much information to absorb. So DMT works in a similar way, which is, it's strange because like you go into like a closed eye visual dream state, and what you're seeing is like of intense construction. There is an intense like engineering to the DMT experience, where you're like, it wasn't just a drug trip. There was a world there. There was like a sense of humor to it. There was like a self-referential aspect to the DMT. I had a friend who
the worst part is there's no way I'm gonna even be able to understand it.
Exactly.
That's why I'm just like, I'm not even trying to like imagine what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, like now that
this
DMT just slid right back the fuck up on my list. You know, that's all it is. Because I know you can't understand it. Unless you do it, you can't understand it. You have to accept it.
But the thing is, you come back from it and it was like, that was a weird dream. And it doesn't affect you the way that acid or shrooms stay with you for a day. You interact with your surroundings and you have a different perception of things after that. DMT, you close your eyes and you
fire off.
It's in there.
Yeah.
And you don't necessarily, I've never taken off on DMT.
It doesn't feel like that?
Well, it's hard to get to that point. You need to have 3 big lungfuls of it.
Just like salvia.
And it's very hard to smoke. It's very difficult. So the most intense trip I had was my flat turned into like a 3D rendering of itself without any texture. So you know when you go into say you're playing Grand Theft Auto and you go inside a building and all the textures on the wall haven't loaded yet. It's just pure white.
Yeah, exactly. It's a single solid color.
It was like that. And I sort of looked to the side of the room, and the room just kind of, the walls sort of manifested as I looked around.
Oh,
and I was like, that's interesting. And then I looked at my desk and it had like bits of tobacco over it usually, but it was just pure white, untextured. My laptop was there, but it was not my laptop. It was like a rounded, I had like a Lenovo.
Yeah.
But it was like a rounded MacBook shape. And then
that's funny, on DMT, your Lenovo looks like a MacBook.
Yeah. But my TV had upgraded as well. It upgraded to like alien
4K
technology. It was like some kind of Stanley Kubrick looking integrated thing. It was like those IKEA square tables, had a shitty TV on top of it. It was all just like molded in to itself. So what it seemed like to me was that an alien had seen my room, did a rendering of itself, and was like, okay, he's got some kind of computer monitor there and a TV there. I'm just going to stick in what I know, which would be that. So that's kind of how I explained it. And then when you come out of it and things start moving, you start to, because it lasts for 20 minutes, because your DMT's in the mind. It's released when you die. It's released when you're born. So your body eats up the DMT as quickly as it appears. So the trips are very short and you just back down to normal. And so you're just like, that was weird. I think I saw what I saw.
So it's so crazy. It's like, you're not like, you don't come back like,
yeah. I mean,
okay,
if you blast off,
there's still time. And then you just run out the door. You're like, what the fuck?
You might have that at like higher doses, but it's surprisingly chill. Like there is a bit of trepidation to it because it's DMT. But I read a book by Dr. Rick Strassman, who was the first psychedelic study in like 30 years.
The Spirit Molecule?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I may have read that book.
Yeah.
Or heard Rogan plug it a couple times.
One of the most interesting things about that book is because he tries to do a scientific study where he quantifies it with heartbeat, etc. But the more interesting thing was the accounts from the people who took it. And it was a lot of the same kind of themes, a lot of the same experiences. And they actually linked quite interestingly with alien abduction encounters. So people going to a spaceship, thinking they've been probed. And they linked it because there's a certain chemical, I think is it melatonin?
The one that helps you sleep?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's raised at a certain point at night, like 3 a.m. That's when it's at its highest. And the idea is that at this time, people have accidental releases of DMT. They don't have the proper antibodies to combat it.
Okay.
And so they think they've been taken off into a spaceship. They're in this other world. They're meeting these entities and they come back. I had a friend who had a DMT experience and he met these entities, some people call them machine elves, and they were telling him, they were laughing at him and saying, you think this is just a drug experience. This is our reality. So there is such a construction and like a sense of humor to it. Terence McKenna as well, he said that they told him not to give in to confoundment. Like, don't be mind blown. Just try and learn the lessons that we're showing you. So they were trying to like dumb it down for him and show him different ideas and different God knows what. Like,
that's so interesting.
Yeah,
I
it's
feel like
mind blowing.
even fucking Mike Tyson talks about his DMT trip, and it's like
5-MeO DMT. Yeah.
It's just like there's so many accounts of it making such a huge difference in people's ongoing lives. Like as far as like a perspective, it's the most consistent positive perspective shift.
Yeah,
everyone who's done DMT has had this like dramatic positive perspective shift. And across the board, right?
Yeah.
There's nobody like, yo, I'm never fucking with that shit again.
Yeah,
like, I haven't come by that. Yeah. They'd be
Yeah.
like, dude, it's... And then they would try to describe it and then like say some things and then eventually wrap it up saying like I can't really
I
describe
sound
it.
too crazy.
Yeah,
to
like and now
go
I
into
just
that.
gotta, I get
It's like
that.
going into the whole VIP pedophile Pizzagate thing. Like I'll start talking about it and then I'm like, fuck, that was 40 minutes of just...
Oh, we talked about
rambling.
many topics in that 40 minutes, my friend.
Yeah, we did.
And on that note, we're wrapping it up. Is there anything you want to plug before we make moves?
Pang Stars. P-A-N-G Stars. You know how to spell stars. It's an astrology comedy podcast hosted by a meditation teacher called Shah Pang. Abbas was on it. We had a hectic episode. Comedians come on. They get their birth chart, astrology read. We give them a tarot card reading, and it's a good vibe. It's actually funny. We get onto some Pizzagate stuff.
Some of that red pill shit.
Yeah, just try and slip it in there. But yeah, it's a fun listen. We're gonna do a live version actually. At some
Yeah,
point.
you just told me about that. Hit me up if you're gonna have your boy on it. Have your boy on
Definitely.
it.
I feel like we need to redo. I'm not recording the episode again, but we should do a live one
again.
Yeah. I reckon a live one would be good with you.
Podcast with random people around.
Yeah.
Does not make for the best podcast. It's better
Is it
to
not?
just discuss pedophilia islands at length instead. You know what I mean?
We have two different schools of thought when it comes to podcasting.
Yeah.
I respect your lane. You
Okay.
respect mine.
Thanks so much,
Libra,
buddy.
Balance.
For coming on.
Thank you
Bring
for
me
having
back
me.
out to Pang Stars. Check it out. I'll plug it on all the info. Thanks for everybody who came out to the last Plus Time Comedy show on September 5th. It was nice and packed out. The next show is October something. It's the first Thursday of the month. I'll mention it on the next show. Thanks so much for listening. Tell your friends about the Immigrant Section. And if you're listening to this on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, give us 5-star rating. Thanks again. Peace.